Welcome to Pixel Realms, the podcast where two geeks dive headfirst into the gaming multiverse. They're basically like Gandalf in a headset, minus the wisdom and magic. So, grab your snacks and level up your patience. Pixel Realms, where the pixels are real, but the knowledge, not so much.
This is Pixel Realms, episode 16. Pay to win or pay to lose? I'm Mark, and this is my partner,
Joe.
All right, Joe, so pay to win is the topic today, but before we start, you had a little bit of GTA news, I believe?
Yeah, so obviously as we get closer and closer to the release of GTA 6, more news comes out. We already know that we will not be getting GTA 6 for the PC at launch date, probably a year or so after, like every Rockstar big AAA game they release. Yeah. The thing, though, that really shocked me when it comes to this information that came directly from Rockstar, one of the developers over at GTA, on GTA 6, is that they are unconcerned with the plummeting sales of consoles. And they have the thought process that they're going to be the company that changes that. That GTA 6 is going to sell consoles.
I mean, they're probably not wrong.
Well, I don't know. I challenge it because the only company I think that could actually sell consoles based on a game is Nintendo. Animal Crossing.
I mostly agree with you. I just think, I honestly think GTA 6 is a big enough game that I'd be hard pressed to not believe them. I could legitimately see people being like, oh, I never bought a PS5. GTA 6 is coming with it, or it's coming out, or whatever. If they do, especially if they do a bundle with GTA 6 included, that's money. That's huge money. I hate to agree with them. I really do. I'd be very surprised if it doesn't do huge numbers. If it wasn't GTA 6, if it was any other game, even a PlayStation exclusive game like a God of War, I would say it would probably do well, but not like big, like world-breaking type numbers. But I don't know. I kind of think GTA 6 is kind of that big of a deal, given how popular it is, how popular the online community is, and the fact that it's been so long since we've gotten a new GTA.
I don't know.
I don't think they're right.
I hope they're wrong. I really do. They're cocky, arrogant, and yeah, it's going to sell like crazy, just like Call of Duty does. But I can't, at this point in the life of this next gen, I don't know if we call it next gen anymore, it's been out forever. The point of this next gen console is there actually going to be a bunch of consoles being sold because of GTA 6. I feel like if you already own a PS4, you already own the whatever the hell the Xbox version is called. If you already own it, it's obviously, yeah, you're going to get GTA 6. But if you don't, I don't know. I feel by this time you already would have bought it to expect to have GTA 6 to play with.
I guess the other thing, I guess I would have to read the entirety of the statement, because I feel like, in a sense, I think they're right. I think it will drive up console sales, but I don't think they're saying specifically how much they think they're going to make, because I think it doesn't matter. I don't think the console sales matter to them. The only thing that matters is their units sold. And people, like you said, PS5's been out a while. They've yet to put out a single game for the system. I'm still waiting for the first PlayStation 5 game, that's worth playing, worth buying a system for. And I haven't seen that yet. I mean, and we're 6 years in. I mean, they haven't released a single PlayStation 5 game.
Yeah. Speaking of 5, well, I guess PlayStation overall, nice segue here, is if you are a PlayStation user, obviously you know that the PSN network was down for about 24 hours recently. Now I know this podcast comes out about a week after everything happens, but The question, and this is news because obviously it happened, but I'm bringing this in the news section because this is our future. We are in the digital age. We are in cloud-based everything. We are in live service everything. Are we screwed? Think about this. Okay, in the past, if Xbox Live was down, if PSN was down, and you want to play a multiplayer game, okay, different story. You just can't play online with your friends, but you can still play your game. But now everything has to get authorized first before you play your downloaded game. So you can't play your console at all. So in those 24 hours, you cannot use your PS4 or whatever PlayStation console for PS5. Sorry, thank you. PS5 for anything other than maybe watching a movie, like a Blu-ray or DVD, I guess. But that's it. You couldn't play anything because everything has to be authorized first through the network.
I mean, if you're a PlayStation person, you're screwed. But I just don't think there's a high enough number to worry about. Like any sane normal person is going to be like, oh well, PlayStation's down. I'm going to go to YouTube on my phone, on my computer, whatever. So, I mean, I would argue that we're probably not screwed in the overall. Just if you're like hardcore PlayStation, you're probably screwed.
But okay, so I'm not just talking about PlayStation. Well, obviously this news article is for PlayStation, but Xbox has gone down. Xbox Live has gone down multiple times. The one live service that almost never goes down is Steam, with the exception of every Tuesday for their half-hour little patch. And it's not even down for the half hour; it's down for like 10, 15 minutes while they're doing their update. And whatever reason, they picked 5 p.m. Central Time to do that update, which in the U.S. is a bad time because, one, Central Time people are just getting off work, getting out of school, like an hour ago, and did their homework, and they're going to be doing their games. An hour on the East Coast, it's an hour difference. Right? On the West Coast, hour difference, and then down south, it's an hour difference for you. So like, it's a stupid time to do it. I don't know what the best time would be, but because then you're going to mess with people on the other side of the world if you do it, later or earlier. But I feel like, I don't know. I'd like to know what the user base is for Steam. Is it primarily US or is it, is Asia, a big dominant market?
They have different, it's almost different versions because, and I know this because I've run into issues in the past where, two of my friends in Germany wanted to buy, I think it was specifically, I guess the game doesn't matter, but it was censored for the German audience. So they were trying to like get around it by buying the US version of the game. And we found out that like, even if you bought the US version of the game, it seems like it's still coded to Germany. So when they tried to play the uncensored stuff, it still ended up being censored. So I think it's just different servers in general. So like Germany Steam is going to be different than US Steam in the sense of like where the games, I guess, come from or launch from or that kind of thing. I think there's multiple different servers. Like your friends
they might have different update times for other countries. Okay, so if that's the case, then why did they pick 5 p.m. on a Tuesday? I assume Tuesday probably is the least amount of users, maybe on Steam.
Tuesdays usually, I'd say, probably.
But didn't new games come out Tuesdays? Wasn't that like the thing? New games came out Tuesday.
That's the thing is like
now they're Fridays. I think.
That I think most of the games come out on Fridays now, but for the longest time it was Tuesdays. I mean, at least new release movies and music came out on Tuesdays. I know I did media for Best Buy and Target for together 15 years. So I always put out all the new releases, and it was always your new release movies, your new release music, and I think even your books came out on Tuesday or some. I think theirs was Wednesday, I think, but it wasn't until I'd say the last I don't even know. I think it started. I was working at Best Buy, so right before pre-COVID is when they fully moved over to Friday releases for games. At first, it was just Nintendo. Mm-hmm. Nintendo was the only ones coming out on Friday. and then suddenly everyone started doing it. So, I mean, which makes sense, right? Most people get paid on Friday.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I always thought
why
the
put
Tuesday was
something out in
weird,
the
but
middle? Yeah, it's like why put something out in the middle of the week or beginning
especially
of the
like
week?
people would. The move to Friday was smart because because it's the end of the week. If it's school kids, whatever, they'll be getting out of school and they can play it all weekend long. Some people
Mhm.
take days off work, whatever, so they would be able to have the whole weekend to play it if they don't work that weekend. So that makes more sense. Tuesdays I thought was always weird. I just remember playing the
Yeah.
NBA games back in the day when they came out on Tuesdays, and I was like, what the hell? Why? Whatever. Anyways, okay, on to the main story, which is pay to win or pay to lose. And this is a pretty tough topic, I think, to talk about because there are aspects of a pay to win that are beneficial to everyone or to a lot of people, right? One of the things that I feel, in my opinion, that pay to win helps with is people that don't have the time to grind out stuff, right? They don't have the time. They
Mhm.
really want to get a certain weapon. They don't have the time in real life to actually grind out to get that weapon. So they can spend $5, whatever it is, to get that weapon they want. That will then make them more powerful. Or like World of Warcraft has it, so you auto level up to whatever, and that's a great. I don't think you get pay to win that one though. But I know like Diablo 4, with this the new season they launched, they give you
Mhm.
two free, for at least for the DLC owners, two free level ups to convert one of your regular characters to a season mode to start that character at a level 50 or whatever, which I think is really really cool. Instead of grinding to that level 50 again at a low power, here you can just jump in and have fun with that new season.
So, yeah, I think it really just depends. Like when you're talking about someone spending money to get that powerful weapon that they want, that's pay to win. That to me, I'm not for it. Like, I'm sorry if you don't have the time to play it, that's on you. I mean, if as long as the weapon's not going anywhere, as long as it's not like a limited thing, like the weapon's never going to go anywhere, so you just put in the time as you can.
Yeah.
With stuff like WoW, it's never been paid to win because the level ups never implement the max level until way after that expansion's over and the next expansion comes out. So it's like at the end of Dragonflight, I think we hit level, I want to say 70 is where I think we capped. You could buy a level up to get you to 60 so that you could do the Dragonflight content to get to 70 with everybody else. But like now, for example, with War Within out, now you can buy a level up to level 70 so that you can do the new content. So it just helps you get past the old content and catch up with maybe people who are already playing the game. But it's never like, okay, we're all level 80 now. I'm going to buy a level 80 token and be a level 80 now too. They
Okay.
don't do that. So, and yeah, with Diablo thing, yeah, I agree. That one's a good one too because, the game's been out a little while. There's tons of people, I'm sure, who've hit max level and are doing like end game stuff. So like, if you're just now getting into the game, with maybe the release of the expansion, for example, maybe people were waiting for the new for the classes that they wanted to play to be released. It's good to be able to be like, okay, I can catch up with my friends who've been playing this a while, and jump to that level. That I don't think's pay to win either. I mean, does it suck that maybe a brand new player is skipping all of the original content? Yeah, but I'm sure they've got enough players and the player base is high enough that have experienced that content that it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, and one thing okay, so I know you talk about WoW, I talk about Diablo an awful lot. We're not Blizzard fanboys.
No,
Let's throw that out. We love Blizzard products, the majority of them, but we're not fanboys of their products. We're real
no,
people. But I feel, and
there's plenty we hate.
yeah, I feel, and we may be different on this one, Mark and I, but like, I feel Blizzard's one of the few companies that actually does pay to win, or not pay to win, microtransactions correctly, because they do it on cosmetics.
Yeah,
And
I
that's
mean,
ever since Diablo 3, which had the what's that called? what it had what was that thing they called the marketplace they had where you as a
The
player
real
could sell things for
auction,
real money.
the real money auction house.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Ever since
And even
then,
then,
they learned their lesson, I feel.
and I don't even think the real money auction house was that bad. I mean,
It was bad because
yeah,
people would mark up shit and take advantage of other people.
no, yeah,
And
definitely,
that's
definitely.
what the world is. People take, and I think Blizzard didn't expect that to happen within this community, but people are just assholes.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, because you know, just like they've always had, and it's not just Blizzard games, not just WoW, but all MMO type games as well, where you've got the you know Chinese gold farmer type people, the companies that are you know hire people for or you know sweatshop level money
Yeah.
to sit at a computer and grind and make gold, and then they sell you know, this guy who doesn't want to do it in game needs I don't know 100,000 gold for something, you know, slips a little you know U.S. cash to this company, and then that person then they get rewarded by the money from this other company. But you know, yeah, I mean, other than that, I mean, the only thing WoW's done in recent years where I thought was kind of shitty when it comes to the in-game stuff. The company themselves, Blizzard, has done plenty of IRL shitty things, but
Yeah.
the $90 amount was the only thing where I thought was a little crazy. But I guess I would need to know the technique behind it, whether or not like having something that could essentially access your auction house that's tied to that server anywhere in that game world when there's supposed to be specific areas that you're supposed to be able to you know access it, and now suddenly they can be in random zone whatever and access the thing. So maybe there's something more to that
Yeah.
that maybe warranted bumping up the price. But $90 was a little bit much, but usually yeah, I'd say they're fairly fair when it comes to that, because and even though the amount was $90, it's not like you had to buy it. It didn't affect your game if you did not buy it. So you know, a lot of games they do a lot worse than Blizzard, unfortunately or fortunately.
Yeah, and the ones that really irritate me are the ones where you have to buy a actual weapon or shield or armor, something that's
Counter-Strike.
actually higher level. That
Counter-Strike loot boxes were bad.
yeah, and
The
there are
8-bit loot boxes.
and doesn't Helldivers have that too in there, or is it all cosmetics? No, I think you can buy stuff. I
No,
think
I
you buy
think it's
credits or
cosmetic.
whatever, and I thought you could get like better power ups or something with it.
I don't think so. I think the credits that you all the anything that you bought with real money, I think was cosmetic.
Okay.
What you bought in game, like box wise, was all with currency that you earned in game.
Okay.
I might be wrong. Maybe they added it. It's been a while since I played it. Since that first big controversy is when we all kind of stopped playing it.
Yeah.
That in between the burnout.
Well, yeah. And then the question's always been asked, and this more so in the EU because they have now a little sticker if you have loot boxes. But are loot boxes, is it just gambling? Especially the ones where you spend real money to get additional loot boxes for, for example, Overwatch. Stick on the Blizzard side of things. Overwatch, all of the loot box stuff is cosmetic stuff.
Yeah.
And you can spend real money to unlock additional credits to get more loot boxes.
Yep.
So is that just gambling?
I mean, I think it's a form of gambling, but I don't think it goes as I don't think it's as severe as that. I feel like if we're going by the word gambling, I think it might match the criteria. But if we're talking about like the ethics behind the gambling, I think it's a little bit different because, when most people think gambling, it's paying real money to do something to potentially get something back, whether it be real money, potentially doubling their money or making more money, or in gaming aspects, it's getting something for the game that they're buying it for. Look at your mobile games. Look at your Genshin Impact. Anything from Hoyoverse, where you're paying money for a chance to pull that rare 5-star character, and the chances are like there's a system to it. There's a percentile to it. I mean, I guess the only caveat to that is that they do give you like a pity system where it's like if you spent enough money in real life money, they eventually give you that pity pool that guarantees you the thing, but you're still plopping down. I think it's somewhere in the $100 to $200 before you get the pity pool.
Speaking of like raffles and gambling, MSI had a great one recently. Everyone knows that the 50 series launched recently, and MSI they were generous people. They allowed people to raffle for their chance at purchasing an MSI graphic card on their website. So they, you would go in. I don't know if you had to spend money. Wouldn't surprise me.
There was one. They did some kind of giveaway because it was they were partnering with a bunch of VTubers because Iron Mouse, Shy Lily, and a couple other really popular ones had like links that sent you to it. But those were the old fashioned ones where it was like follow the Instagram, follow the Twitter, follow the Facebook to get like a certain amount of chances for the pull to win it. So there was no real money involved in that one, but this might be a different giveaway. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Can a skillful free-to-play player ever beat a pay-to-win player in modern gaming? This has always been one of the big questions that's asked is if you just have that skill, and you don't spend a single penny in play-to-win, do you still have the same odds as someone that's putting money into the game itself? Now, I'm going to give you an example. We're going to go to mobile games, and I'll give you an example of Monopoly. It's been my religious thing over the past year, is that every morning I hop into the Monopoly app, and I get my free little 3 rewards. I have not spent a single penny in that game, not a single real life penny, and I never will spend a real single life penny in that game. But they have these little tournaments often, and I'm never, ever, ever in the top 70% of any of the tournaments. And that makes me believe that people are spending the money so they can get, additional dice rolls. Or I just hoard my dice rolls until, some cool event comes up and I can just use all the dice then.
So I think it depends on the game. Those are a little bit different. Those type of games. There are plenty of games out there that a real skilled player can beat a pay to winner. Like anything that involves FPS, anything that involves actually doing something in the game other than clicking a button. The pay to winners have a massive advantage because they're probably 10 times stronger than your normal pay to win or free to play person. But latency can be a thing, and just because you're OP as fuck, if you're unskilled and don't know what buttons to properly press or don't know the mechanics behind the game, that doesn't instantly make you a winner. So I think it depends on the game. I think it really depends on the game. The game in your situation, yes, that is a pay to win thing where a lot of those mobile games, I know I've done the exact same thing as you, not with that particular game, but there's plenty of mobile games I've played. I can't even name one off the top of my head because there's been quite a few, but where it's like, I don't put any money into the game. I've got like a decent character pool and I get decent like equipment and armor for the type of characters that are in there, but I've never placed high because the people who place high are the ones that are always on the ball or dropping real money and making sure that they're got the strongest of the strong. So like you do those little, like you said, mini tournaments where it's like your best team of like 3 or 4 characters takes on another team of 3 or 4 characters. And like you get like that free to play bracket where it's like you're even with everybody. And then once you hit that one promotion where you're instantly in that next bracket where it's like, this is where the pay to winners are starting to be in. That's when it's always lose, and you never pick up a win ever.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it depends on the game. Mobile games, especially actual physical games, I argue that there's going to be a difference there.
Some developers design games to intentionally grind heavy or frustrate players, pushing them to spend real money to bypass artificial roadblocks is one of the concerns that consumers have. Now, here's the real question mark, and we gotta be honest now. We gotta play the truth or dare kind of thing here. Not DLCs, but in-game cosmetics, power-ups, etc. How many have you bought? Can you just off the top of your head?
Off the top of my head, I not a lot, but or not. I can't name any, but I guess it depends on what, like cosmetics. I've probably bought a decent amount. Anything that's been like a power up, pay to win item, I don't think I've bought too many. I can't really name many. I think the only game I can off the top of my head name is Arcade, but there was a whole bunch of situations behind that where the alpha, I paid that $150 like alpha pack, played a F ton of it, got my money's worth in my opinion, but I was obviously paying to be in the long haul, to be there for a long time. Then they changed over to beta, and beta was like a different game. And then when they went to live again, it was like a different game, and they started incorporating pay to win mechanics and stuff. And I think I probably purchased a few things there, but it was weird because it was never to benefit me on like a skill level. I was trying to buy I was trying to get a fishing boat for that game because they had like open water fishing that was really fun, and you needed a particular piece of material that was like very hard to get in game, where you had to be lucky that lightning would have to strike a tree and turn it into a lightning struck tree. And they made it that you needed like, it used to be that you only needed like one or two pieces, so it didn't take super long. But then when it went over to like live, like either beta or I think it was like the actual full release, they had made it that you needed four pieces of this wood. And the way they got around it is they sold you an item that would like let you make a tree thunderstruck or lightning struck, or at least up your chances to like something like 25 or 50%. So even then, it still wasn't 100% guaranteed, but they made a lot of money off of that for their end game armor, end game equipment, end game riding mounts or mounts or fishing boats. All of that stuff needed that special lumber that you could only get before. It was random, but you needed a very, very low amount. That's how that was one of the mechanics they did to make it like a cash cow. I think it's the only game I've ever done it for. I don't think I've ever spent real money or even in-game money to like pay to win per se. Cosmetics, yeah, tons. League of Legends, oh my God, don't even get me started with the amount of money I dropped in that fucking game. I hate that game with a passion to this day, and I hate to admit how much money I probably spent on that game. And that was all on skins and champions.
I have never bought a single cosmetic item for a game before. And the only pay-to-win thing I've ever done in my entire life, and you'll probably laugh at me on this one, is I spent a total of $10 in Candy Crush.
I can't
because I had a coworker. I couldn't get past it. She was pissing me off, and she kept on, teasing me that she was whatever level, and I couldn't get out of the level I was at. And I'm like, you know what? You're getting my damn money. $10 is the only amount of money I've ever spent on cosmetics / power-ups ever in a video game. Real life money.
I wish I could laugh at you, but my wife played Candy Crush for a long time. I think she's playing it again for the first time in a long time. Candy Crush Soda, I think was another one. And she'll go, oh, Mark, look, this is a really good deal for $5. Can I spend $5? And I'll be like, I want to say no, but because I'm in charge of the finances, but she makes the money. And so if I tell her no, and she's my wife, yes, honey, you can spend the money.
That's why it's great to have my situation with my wife is we have separate bank accounts, and she can spend whatever she wants. I can spend whatever I want. We don't have to ask each other anything.
That's the only thing I think you and I are going to be different on. And you and I are pretty much the same because we're old timers. But that's crazy to me.
I'm not old.
You're old as fuck too, buddy.
Listen here, 3-year difference, I think, between us.
That's old. That's ancient. Especially since I'm 42. So next year when I'm turning 40, when I turn 43, 3 years difference means you're still 40, bitch. But that's the only thing where I'm different. We're very old school. I think we had joint bank accounts almost right away. Like I know it was before we got married that we had joint bank accounts, and I've never believed in separate bank accounts. Maybe if I was good with managing money, that would be different. Where I'd be like, okay, she's kind of bad at managing money, but I'm really good at it. Then maybe I would have had like a separate bank account to make sure that we always had money. But she's bad with money, and I'm bad with money, so we're just kind of bad with money together.
Well, we've always done it because, well, we just didn't want to have to ask each other if we can buy something. And because you'd be using someone else's money, likely, in that situation. So, the thought is, and like when we eat, when we go out and eat or whatever it be, so like every Wednesday we have our date night thing. So we'll watch some movies, we'll get some DoorDash, whatever it be. And we take turns on who buys, or we'll go half-half, kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And it works really good for us because, again, I could buy whatever I want for my PC. Or I can buy games. I can be hardware. Whatever it is, I can do whatever I want. I don't have to ask questions. As long as I can pay the bills, whatever I want. Same thing with her. As long as she can pay the bills, she can get whatever she wants. And we have no restrictions with that.
I mean, that's fair. I guess because I'm definitely not knocking that whole thing. I'm not knocking people with separate bank accounts. It's just foreign to me because I grew up with old fashioned parents as well. I don't want to do the stereotype where it was like, the old stereotype of the man works and the woman is at home barefoot and pregnant, or just the housewife or whatever. But there was my parents were really old. You knew my parents. My parents were already old when I was born. My dad was already in his 40s when I was born. So there was that very old fashioned family of like that was all one bank account. Dad made the most money. Mom balanced the checkbook. I mean, he would still balance his checkbook too, but he expected her to go out and do the grocery shopping, and he would pay the bills, etc. And my situation's differently where I'm not able to work, and so she's the only one working. So there can't really be our money because I don't earn an income right now. I haven't earned an income in a couple of years, so there would be no Mark money because it would be like, honey, can I please buy this? But the caveat is I do all the driving. I take everyone to work, everyone to school, pick everyone to work, everyone, pick up everybody. And I do all the bills so that all she has to do, because she used to do the finances and she did a good job. I hate doing the finances because I always seem to screw up every week. There'll always be something that I miss or something. But she's making more money now, so it's not as detrimental. But the bottom line is like, she just wants to be able to go to work because she works 40 plus hours a week, sometimes 60, sometimes 70. She's too tired to come home and manage the checkbook too. Or I guess we don't have checkbooks anymore, the bank account. So she just like, all right, I'm in charge of the finances. So just as long as the bills get paid and when she wants to buy something, she could buy something. She doesn't really care where the money goes, which I wish she would take more of an active role, but that's a whole different subject. Regardless, I get what you're saying. And I don't think there's anything wrong with having the separate purchase things and whatnot. So, I mean, and that could tie into the loot boxes and whatnot. Like, even if it's pay to win, I guess it boils down to, are you hurting anybody? Are you using your money? Is it legal? Are you not stealing from someone using their money?
Here's the thing. When I worked at a bank, I worked at a call center for a bank, and you would not believe how many times I got a call a day from parents, from grandparents, from just regular people saying, what is this Facebook charge? I don't even have a Facebook account.
Or V-Bucks. I'm sure V-Bucks was a thing.
Yeah.
V-Bucks,
back
were you
then,
working at a bank when?
No.
Okay.
But so the first question, well, do you have kids? Do you have kids? Do you have grandkids? Oh, yeah, they were
Yeah.
over here this past weekend. Ask them if they bought anything from Facebook. And then all the times
Hmm.
that people, their accounts were hacked, their cards were breached, and people were buying Facebook credits with fraud accounts. All the times of that.
Yeah.
So that's the concern, is that now you have a black market when it comes to some of these loot box type of situations.
Yeah, I mean, we're not going to say that the bad part still isn't going to happen, but I mean, I guess I mean it's one of those things where if you're paying with your money, you haven't stolen somebody's money to do this. If you're not hurting somebody, uh, is it a big deal? I mean, yeah, I guess in game mechanically, it's kind of a big deal. I guess you really see. It's really hard. It's really hard because I'm very much against pay to win, but at the same time, I don't make a big deal about it because it is at the end of the day their hard-earned money, hopefully, that they're putting into their hobby.
Really?
That's well, yeah, hopefully
Yeah.
it's their money and they're choosing to use the money after they've taken care of their responsibilities. But it does, there is that whole aspect of maybe you are feeding into a gambling addiction. Are people giving up meals to be able to buy this stuff? Are people, not paying bills or taking care of their family to buy the stuff? But that at the end of the day, you have to manage people for that. You can't manage a game. You can't base. It's very little that you can do on the game side of things. That is a people thing. That is a human responsibility thing, not a video game company A responsibility sort of thing.
Would
Unless
you
you just say that
rather?
they straight up don't offer them.
Yeah. Would you rather grind 100 hours or pay $20 for an instant power up?
I mean, for me, I'd grind 100 hours, but I guess it would also depend on the game. Any game that I'm sitting at my desk and I'm playing on PC, I'm gonna grind for it. I'm not gonna pay real money for it. If it's one of those shitty mobile games that for whatever reason have gotten into my head that I need to do this, or maybe I've tried to play, maybe I've played for 100+ hours of the same level and I can't get past it because I don't have the right whatever I need. That's where it gets you. That's where those temptations go when you've maybe played like a level for so long that you're just so tired of seeing the level. I could see people popping the $20 down, but if you're asking what would I do first, I would always do the grinding first before I'd even think about putting down the real money. But I might still end up putting down the real money at the end. It just really depends on the game and the time that I put into it. If I've played 100+ hours of a game and I'm not seeing the rewards for it, then you start to think, I could just get this over with now. Like just flop it down to $10 or $20. Like, so I think it really is, it's person by person, time by time, and I think it's also the reward. What are you trying to achieve in said game?
I feel that they should have two different versions. For games that have power-ups, pay to win kind of features, loot boxes, I think their game should have two different versions you can buy. You can buy the standard version, which is the standard $60 price tag, right? And that has everything, no loot boxes, none of that crap. You can experience the game without any of the microtransactions. Or you can buy the game for $20. And you can grind it out if you wanted to over the course of, 1,000 hours, whatever it is. Or you can go ahead and buy microtransactions.
I mean, at the end of the day, there usually is two different versions of the game with those kind of games. It's just the fact that where it becomes the issue is when you're meeting other people. When you are a free-to-play player running into a pay-to-win player. I think where that alternative is that they just need to have separate game servers and that the free-to-play people don't have to interact with those people. I don't know how you would police that, but that's where I would say. I mean, I guess you would police it by just not allowing anything to be bought with real money on the free-to-play servers. I think that's really what it boils down to, is that if they just separated the servers, I think that would be less of a problem. But again, it boils down to I wish things were more black and white.
See, I don't
But
think they'd ever do that though, because
and I don't think they can. There's
Well,
too much money to uphold.
that's the
Let's say
thing.
you're a smaller company and you're paying for one server, if you're not making enough money to maintain two servers,
Yeah, but not even
there you
that,
go.
because think of this. Like, think of WoW when there's a new mount, a new mount you can buy for $20. One person, you see whatever, a zebra running by, and you're like, oh, I want that zebra. That'd be really, really cool. You go into the little store and you see it's $20. You buy it. There you go. And it spreads like fire because you saw one person that has that mount. So it's like free press.
The big difference though, a lot of those mounts that you buy from the store, you can't get in game other than buying with the store. You might be able to get a version, the $90 mount. There was a brontosaurus that you could farm, I believe. I don't think you could. I think you had to get real in game gold that you could farm to get, but it was like an absorbent amount. It was like somewhere. I think it was like something like 33,333,333, something weird like that. It was a weird number, and the amount of gold that you needed was beyond insane. That to the point that I don't think because I barely know people who hold on to 1,000,000 gold. Like I can barely get up to 100,000 before I'm spending my gold on stupid shit. Whether it's like enchantments, because I don't want to find a person in game to enchant my stuff for free. I'll just buy the thing off the auction house. But that's all in game currency that you earn in game. I'm not paying real money for that. But a lot of the mounts that you pay real money for in World of Warcraft, you cannot get in the game, or at least not that particular skin. Especially. So I think maybe that also might be a little bit different too then, because you're paying for something unique that you can't get the normal way.
Sure. So to summarize things, pay to win, I think, Mark, it's fair to say that if you're educated enough to decide on, can you afford this? Is it worth it? It's great. If you don't have the time in real life, but you want to have the same experience or similar to experience to be able to beat a game or join with your friends, it's a benefit. But if it's something that only has the option, competitive, if it's competitive something where,
then it's bullshit.
You have a better gun, then it's questionable. It's very much questionable.
Yeah. That's where my stance is. I don't think there's anything wrong with pay to win. If you're paying for it, you're choosing to spend your hard-earned money, you're responsible with your money, you're taking care of things, and you want to join like your friends in game, I think it's fine. But if you're playing in a competitive co-op game and all you got to do is slap down $20 and you have the best armor and the best gun in the game and you're gunning down other players, that's where I toe the line. I don't think that's fair. But if it's just to catch up to other players so you can play with them, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I'm sure there's plenty of people who find something wrong with that, being like, it's not fair that they can play money to catch up to us. So it's like, but who are they hurting? Really, who are they hurting, realistically?
Yeah.
I mean, you could argue other things, but then the debate's never going to end. There's always going to be someone contrary to whatever the statement is or whatever the belief is. So at the end of the day, the stance is, if you're playing with other people and you're responsible with your money and you're adding to their game experience, or you're just having your own game experience, cool. If you're hurting other players in the sense of like you're pay to winning and you're getting an advantage over other players in a negative light, in maybe a competitive scenery, not cool. That's kind of where, it's like I said, it's not black and white.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, as always, thanks everyone for listening and watching this episode of Pixel Realms, and we'll see you for the next one.
Bye-bye.